And thank you, Tom Lewis, for the relay lineups. Very helpful. Stay in their lanes through the first two curves, then break for the pole. 3-section final. You can score points or win the event from any one of the 3 sections, but traditionally the first of these 3 sections has the teams with the slowest seed times coming in. And by the slowest seed time, I mean LSU ran 3:05.26 this year. That's the 16th fastest time in the country.
Well, leading off for Kansas State there, that's Jayden Omala, the senior, off get the 200-meter specialist, getting things going for the Wildcats.
Coming up to the first exchange, and it's going to be Kansas State handing off first. LSU right in it, and for the Wildcats, it is Jayden Omala, that is Kyle Gale. And for LSU, Salim Epps. And for the Volunteers, Christian Parker. Josh Taylor for the Cougars there in the back. Still very close together at this point.
Saw a little bumping there in that first lap, but everybody seems to be running clear now.
Kyle Gale extending the lead ever so slightly for Kansas State. They will hand off first, followed by Tennessee, then BYU. Trying to go wide to get into second place, unable to do it. 45-9 for Kyle Gale on that second carry. They've got a nice lead now. This is Jayden Omala on third leg for them. For Tennessee, Zaire Nuruddin. For LSU, Dylan Bedell-Bass. And for BYU, Abram Shapp. Kansas State came in with a 3:04.59 seed time. Tennessee had the fastest time on paper at altitude at 3:04.30. Final exchange, and the Volunteers will hand off first. A much better exchange. And they are in the lead for Tennessee on the anchor. It is Rasheem Griffith. For Kansas State, Tavon Underwood, freshman. For LSU, Shaquem McKay. And for BYU, it's Trey Jackson.
Well, and one of the guys that's missing for Tennessee, the Tennessee Volunteers, he had to pull out of these championships, Emmanuel Bynum, their best 400-meter runner. He injured himself at the SEC championships, didn't want to risk further injury and get ready for the outdoor season. So Tennessee has missed him in this indoor championships.
I'm sure you don't need to be reminded, but this is an Olympic year, and there are plenty of athletes at the collegiate level, including those from many other countries who have designs on making their Olympic teams and competing in Paris. So Tennessee wins the first section, establishes the time to beat for the other 2 sections, 3:04.63. Just a little off what they ran as their seed time coming in. All right, they're off in section 2 of this 4x400 relay, the concluding event here at these championships. From the inside, it's Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and Alabama. Not sure I've said Texas that many times in one sentence. The all-important pole, Ahmad Robinson gets it. There's a fight there. See, that's what I'm talking about. Things happen when they bump. They could drop the baton. All kinds of things are possible. So Texas Tech really needs to stay out of trouble. And Caleb Dean making quite the move there. There's that 400 hurdle strength. But Ahmad Robinson holds him off. Robinson, a gutty runner for Pat Henry's Aggies, but he is suffering. Keeps going, though, and the Aggies hand off first.
Well, there's a great handoff there by Ahmad Robinson. It looked like he was running out of gas, but he put his head down, swung his arms wildly, and kept it going.
It's Javon O'Brien for Texas. Carl Hicks for Texas Tech. And for the Longhorns, John Rutledge. And back in the back in fourth place, Samuel Ogazi for the Crimson Tide.
They lead the team race coming into this final event.
It's a lot of 4x400 relay pride for those Texas A&M Aggies. They always have 4 guys they can throw at you. Javon O'Brien doing a fine job keeping the Aggies in front. They will pass first.
A&M first to make the exchange.
And for A&M, it's Jaqueline Scott, their hurdler. For Tech, Josh Bohr.
A&M, Texas
For UT, Elijah Mosley. And for Alabama, Kaleb McCray.
Well, Kaleb McCray is way back there, but keep an eye on him. He's sure to make a move here early on in this next lap, but we saw him go down in his 400-meter heat. Nice to see him back on the track, not injured.
It's A&M, Tech, Alabama, and UT as they get ready to exchange the baton for the final time. Tech's job's got to be just don't drop it, don't screw it up. A little bit of a problem there, got behind. And that's quite a battle going on for the lead for Alabama. Chris Robinson for A&M, Kamar for Carson, Shamar Uter for Texas Tech, 44.97 for Kaleb McCray, and that's why Alabama is in this.
And Chris Robinson, no slouch in the 400 meters as well. Third place at the SEC championships, and your NCAA champion in the 400-meter hurdles.
Well, they're all bunched together now. Robinson's run a lot of this final leg in lane 2. Here comes Texas Tech. Shamar Uter, here comes to UT, very close to the finish. I think it was A&M that held them off, which is important from the standpoint of where these teams will place based on time. It's UT that actually got the lead there by a 100th of a second over A&M, and then Tech just a couple hundredths back. All 4 teams within 0.6. The top 3 within 3 100ths. So Texas wins it at 3:03.34, establishing the time to beat. A&M 100th back, Tech 200ths back, currently in 3rd. This final section. So all these teams, all 4 of these teams would need to run faster than Texas Tech, and Arkansas would have to win in order to take the title. From the inside, it is University of Southern California, Arkansas, Arizona State, Florida. The leadoff runner for USC, Justin Brown. For Arkansas, Connor Washington. For Arizona State, Justin Robinson. And for Florida, Javon Powell.
Arizona State and Florida, the only 2 teams that dip under 3:03 this season, and that's something you see on a regular basis. It's kind of surprised Florida hasn't run a little bit faster this season. But a good run by Justin Robinson. You know he's going to get out aggressive and try to get the Sun Devils a lead.
And Florida does not have the services of Wanye McCoy, who got injured in that 200 meters. He smartly finished the race and scored points for the Gators. Florida will pass first, but a better pass by Arizona State keeps them in the lead.
Well, good run by Javon Powell to start this thing. The top 2 runners for Florida go in the number 1 and number 2 positions. This is Robert Gregory, the 200-meter specialist there, running for the Florida Gators.
Kaleb Simpson, the senior, running for the Sun Devils. Lance Lang for Arkansas, and they're well back. They need to be winning this section if they have any chance. That's Johnny Blockberger for the Trojans.
Well, keep an eye on Lance Lang in the back there. He's run some incredible 4x4 legs for the Arkansas Razorbacks. He's trying to make a move to get them up there.
Florida challenging, but Arizona State hanging in there in first place. Coming up for the second exchange, Arkansas going wide. It's still the Sun Devils in front. This is Jayden Davis for Arizona State. Then for Florida, Genoa McKeever. For the Trojans, Jacob Andrews, a freshman. And for Arkansas, TJ Tomljanovich. I can't stress how important it is for Arkansas. They must win this section, and all these teams must be under the time that Texas Tech ran in Section 2. Coming up for the final exchange, it's still Arizona State, followed by Florida, USC, and Arkansas. For the Sun Devils, Gamali Felix on anchor. For Florida, Raheem Hales. For USC, William Jones. And for Arkansas, Stephen McElroy.
Well, look at the way the the Florida Gator there, Raheem Hales, is holding that baton. This is something that Team USA does at the next level, World Championships and Olympic Games, and it protects that baton from getting hit by other people. It's not something a lot of teams do, but we saw some baton flubs at the World Championships, and that's just something to take note of.
All the third legs were under 46 seconds. Florida with a final push to try to win it, but Arizona State holds them off. They were the #1 team in the country coming in, and they held on. 3:02:31. That's actually a season best for the Sun Devils. But Texas Tech knows they can do the math. They're 4th overall in the 4x400, and Arkansas did not win that heat. So Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, who have come into this meet so many times, ranked #1 in the country and failed to deliver, finally do so in an amazing style.
Well, they run 3:03:37. Texas Tech did there. You see, led by Kaleb Dean, he led them off. 3:04:77 for the Arkansas Razorbacks, and that math is really easy. But you see the celebration begin for the Red Raiders, the Wes Kintley-led Red Raiders, for their first indoor championship.
And that man did amazing work.